Welcome to Side Roads. I'm Carlos, and this is a very pink, very super cool 2024 Jeep Wrangler Sahara. Thank you to my kind friends from Boyer Cover for facilitating the car for this video. The 2024 Jeep Wrangler Sahara comes, at least this one that I'm driving today, with a V6 engine, which is a 3.6 liter that produces 285 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers are pretty similar to the two-cylinder turbo that is also offered on the Wrangler. So it's a matter of preference. Even the fuel efficiency is not that far off from one model to the other. So there is that. I own a Wrangler with a 2-liter engine, and this is my first time driving the V6, so a few things. First, this feels a lot smoother and for some reason less noisy. I find that 2-liter turbo is great and it's really torquey, but sometimes can sound rough and it's like trying so hard all the time. But the torque makes a huge difference, because this one, yes, it feels smoother, but it's a little bit sluggish comparing to the 2-liter. Not something significant. I think they are pretty similar, but it's interesting to feel and see the difference on the behavior and the reaction on the two engines. So that's cool to have the options, but yes, they are different. Oh yeah, you can feel the torque difference right there, and this is an engine that has been in the Jeep lineup for a while, so be mindful of that. Jeep also the Wrangler offers a couple of extra engines that are not available on the Sahara, but just to mention, they have a plug-in hybrid that Jeep calls Ford by-E, which I also review already, so watch that video on the channel. And there is a 392, which is the V8, which I believe this is the last year, from this to 2026, the last year that is going to be available. So if you want that, run for it, but also get your wallet ready, because it's 100K plus between Canada and the US price, so that's an expensive car. The Wrangler Sahara and the Wrangler in general competes pretty much only with the Ford Bronco. I was going to throw there the brand new Toyota Land Cruiser, but turns out it's really pricey and the power is a lot different, so it really competes more against the 4xe, the Wrangler 4xe, in terms of price and power. So I'm not using that for this comparison, so back to the Bronco then. So fuel efficiency for the Wrangler Sahara, let's start with the 2-liter optional engine, is 11.5 liters per 100 kilometers combined as per report by the Jeep page, and it is 20 mpg city and 22 mpg highway in the US. For the V6 engine, which is the one that I'm driving, it is 13.4 liters per 100 kilometers city, 10.1 liters per 100 kilometers highway, which is 19 mpg city and 24 mpg highway. Price for the Wrangler in general, the whole lineup, It starts in Canada around 51,000 Canadian dollars. The top trim goes around 74,000 Canadian dollars. The Sahara starts at 62,000 Canadian dollars. In the US, the Wrangler starts around 36,000 US dollars. The top trim comes around 61,000 US dollars, and the Sahara starts around 49,000 US dollars. The 2024 Jeep Wrangler Sahara interior. Well, this one is cool or cooler, and as I briefly mentioned before, this is like the city or urban Wrangler. This is this mix between rugged and off-road and 4x4 with the comfort features, the good looking, the better materials type of thing. So if I compare this with the wheelies, for example, which is that I have, this has this stitching material here which is softer, and this leather part here with contrasting stitching, and this portion as well is a little bit padded, so the materials itself are nicer and better, and also makes you feel tricky that you are not in a Wrangler, which I don't think anybody who buys a Wrangler doesn't want to be in a Wrangler, but it makes you feel that you are in a modern Wrangler, let's say, right? The less off-road oriented and more city oriented, if that makes any sense. So the steering wheel is wrapped in leather, as well as the parking brake, for example, that the wheelie doesn't have, and is heated. The seats, the front seats are heated as well. The materials on the door too are softer. It's this rubbery, softer plastic, not the hard plastic that you find in a wheelie. So, and the center console is also better padded, and it has a better material. So right away I can feel how much comfier this is, which helps with the whole city experience or more refined Wrangler experience, which I'm liking a lot. The seats are leatherette, I'm sure. I don't think this is real leather, and it has this little bit of contrast stitching here, which, you know, gives this extra little detail. The glove box, it's okay size, it's cheap and square, but it will do the job. It has two cup holders here with a center cubby, like for your keys or your cell phone, and the door pockets are mesh, so that's not very practical for bottles. But remember, these doors are to be removed or can be removed, so they have to keep it simple and light. All that is cool. Of this is the hard top, so these panels are removable, are hard, but they are removable, so you can have this huge opening. And then the same with the panels in the second row, and then the full back section of the roof if you want to go that far. You have a 7 inches digital display in the middle that can change functions, and you can also configure the information that you can always see in the screen. This is a pretty user-friendly and intelligently done screen, one that I haven't seen pretty much in any other car so far. I haven't driven that many yet, so, or test drive for the channel that many. So this is really, really cool. It's super intelligent. And then Jeep added for this model year this 12.3 inches screen, which is with Uconnect 5, and it has is horizontally oriented. It's bigger than before. Of course, it looks way more modern, which I'm not necessarily think that Wrangler buyers are looking for that, but hey, it's good to see progress and updates. So the icons are big, the screen is very, very clear, very nice to look at, and there are some air conditioning functions that you can either control from the screen or from the hard buttons here for your air conditioning, basically, and a few of other functions like the volume knob and all that. It's pretty simple, it's rugged, it's super functional, the layout is perfect, I really like the interior of the Wrangler, and as I said, I own one, so it's so nice to use and so practical. It's very, very well done. Then the the power windows here in the center, because the doors can be removed, so you still have to get the controls here, and USB and USB-C ports here with your 12-volt outlet. This little cubby here, this one is an 8-speed automatic with a regular shifter, and here we have the 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low modes for the off-roading if you want to do it with your Wrangler, which you should if you buy a Wrangler. The center console have this extra tray here, which is higher, and then this huge and deep center console here. You can store whatever you want. It's pretty functional and practical as well. I fit behind myself based on this driving position, and I fit. There is a spare room there for me, and the trunk space is also pretty practical. This is not an SUV. This is a Wrangler that has become this urban, super utilitarian and loved by families vehicle, but you can still have enough space and practical space here for the daily use of this car, which I think is cool, and which I think is why Jeep decided to go for the Unlimited, which is a 4-door version of the Wrangler. People love Wrangler, me included. This is a nice interior. Oh, super important, for this year they added side airbags here in the front and the back, and it has also power front seats, both the driver and the passenger. A power seat in a Wrangler, imagine that. So they are supposedly built to protect from water and those stuff if you go off-roading, but it's really cool to have. So here you have it. The Sahara is the Wrangler for everybody. So how is to drive the Wrangler Sahara? Well, it's a Wrangler. And please watch the videos on the channel. There is a Willys 2-door and a 4xe there, so you can watch those other models that are part of the Jeep Wrangler lineup. So this one, the Sahara, it is, let me start with the obvious. This is a hard top, so when comparing with my Willys that is a soft top, it's a lot quieter in here. Super quiet. It's nice. It is a Wrangler still, and I just look at the tires that are all terrain. The Sahara used to have more city oriented tires. These ones are a little bit more off-roady, or at least all terrain, but I don't feel any noise coming from the tires. Or well, I have to drive the ones that are more city-like, but it's not intrusive. Of course, it's noisy. This is a Wrangler. This is a hard top, and it's very square off. So there is a lot of wind noise and a little bit of road noise. But in general, I think people would expect the Wrangler to be rougher and a lot more noisy. It's not, and that's nice because it makes it very comfortable and livable, especially in daily driving. So this one, the Sahara, I will say is the city fancy Wrangler. Yes, you have the all-terrain, and I believe it's trail rated. I'll check in the exterior video. You will see if it is of not on your screen, but it is more comfortable. The seats are leather wrapped, and I can already feel that they are more comfortable than my Willys. At least there is a lower lever than this, and has so many extra interior amenities. So it is just for daily driving a lot nicer, and I think that's what they are going for. It's a little bit more luxury, more comfortable, more friendly for most of the drivers. And I think that's why this type of trim, and the Sahara especially, but the lower trims too, are the reasons why more and more people are joining the Jeep Wrangler family, because they can have an SUV-like car but still have a Wrangler. So it's really comfortable so far. You will think that a Wrangler is really bumpy and harsh, and it's not. It's a pretty comfortable car to drive. I mean, if you go to a few years back, it will be a regular SUV. Of course, now the cars are nicer and softer and all this stuff, so maybe no longer, but I don't think this car is uncomfortable by any means. I think it's nice and comfortable. And then remember, there is this feeling of ruggedness and sitting high and the commanding view and the feeling that you are driving a Wrangler, like it's the next thing after a pickup truck, I think. So it's pretty cool. The engine, the V6 engine, it is responsive. I find the 2-liter turbo a little bit more responsive than this, but it's fine. And as I mentioned before, it's smoother and quieter, and it sounds nicer when you hear it. So adds a little bit of refinement to the formula, but it's fine. I think you can not go wrong with any of the two engines. Just test drive it, because it may make a difference for you, not to me. I think I like the two of them, but yes, it could make you lean towards one or the other. The suspension is a Wrangler suspension. Again, they have been working with for years and years. This feels a lot more refined and a lot less bumpy than my wheelies, and it could be because the wheelies have some extra mechanical things to make it more off-road ready, and also because it's a lower level, maybe there is noise insulation or something here, and also maybe because mine is soft top, I don't know, but I feel this one a lot more refined, and as I said before, car-like or SUV-like, which is super cool for those ones that are not ready to commit to a full off-road experience but want something cool like a Wrangler. This is the one to get. The steering weight is, of course, super light, and that's for a reason. It is designed for off-roading and to make it easier to maneuver in a tough terrain and go through obstacles and things like that, and it's typical of an off-road oriented car. It also makes it really easy to drive in the city and parking and all that, because it's really light. When it gets a little bit different, and you will have to get used to that, is in the highway, because it is very vague on center feeling, and you have to do a lot of corrections, and it's just a different driving experience. Nothing that you cannot get used to it, but if you like precise and speedy and sporty driving, test drive a Wrangler before you go for it, because that will make your experience to be a lot different. So something that is happening here that I also noticed in the 4xe that I drove, I think Jeep tweaked the steering after the Bronco came to the market, because my wheelies, it feels a lot looser, a lot loose than this. Like, it's a lot lighter and it's so vague on center, and I feel this one, it's a lot more precise, and I noticed that as well in the 4xe. So maybe Jeep have done something to compete closer to the Bronco, that I haven't driven one, but everybody's reporting that the steering is more normal and car-like or SUV-like. So I feel a little bit of that here. So maybe that's the case. There are already two Wranglers that I've driven, and it seems to be a theme here. So hopefully they have, because to me that was one of the themes of the Wrangler that was so particular. But now if it's more towards a normal steering, more and more people will like it, and it will be a lot easier for more and more people to drive it around. So points to Jeep on that. The brakes are very responsive too. I feel no issues. It's a brand new car, but they feel pretty cool too. So that's nice. So overall, how is the Wrangler to drive? Really cool. It's a Wrangler. I own one. I cannot do anything else that recommend anybody to get a Wrangler. I think it's a super cool experience. Even with the hardtop, these panels you can remove, have this huge opening which change the experience altogether. And of course you can remove the second row panel and then the back portion of the roof and have a full convertible, full Wrangler experience. It is really, really cool. And in terms of the driving dynamics, yes, this is an off-road heritage oriented vehicle with all the added technology and updates to make it more modern and livable, but it's still a Wrangler. And to me, that's right there a selling point. I think the Wrangler is super cool. It is particular, it's not for everyone. If you buy a Wrangler, you get a Wrangler, and I say this in all my videos about the Wranglers. So, but in general, it's a pretty cool formula. So if you can, test drive one, and if you like it, go buy it because it's really cool. The 2024 Jeep Wrangler Sahara, in my opinion, is an urban Jeep Wrangler. It has all these comfort features combined with the all-time Wranglerness, which makes it pretty user-friendly and cool. And please, get it in pink.